Shakur Stevenson is the most frustrating boxer today. I don't mean that from the viewer's perspective. What Shakur Stevenson is a master at is defensive boxing. On the receiving end of a lot of criticism due to the lack of action in his fights, perhaps it's justified, the criticism of Shakur Stevenson often blinds the Americans' critics to what he is actually good at: defensive boxing. Boxing is about hitting and not getting hit. While Shakur Stevenson gets his fair share of criticism on hitting, defensively he is second to none in the sport right now. Making himself hard to hit is what makes Shakur Stevenson such a talented fighter. He starts with a fairly basic approach: hand fighting. There is no one better at hand fighting than Andre Ward, but Shakur Stevenson is a student of the game and likely looked at Floyd Mayweather, and others to develop his defensive approach. Against Artem Hartunian, Shakur Stevenson made sure to keep his hand on top of his opponent. Pinning the glove to Hartunian's lead hand made it difficult for Hartunian to jab, which is the start of most combinations. Without a lead hand, Hartunian is forced to either move his lead hand, which Shakur feels and can react to quicker, or lead with his power hand, which Stevenson is watching because the lead hand is pinned. Knowing the jab is the basis of a good offensive attack. Taking away the jab is the best way of stifling said offensive attack. Stifling the opponent's jab with the lead hand is not only what makes Shakur Stevenson himself hard to hit. He utilizes cross checks, forearm deflections, and the shoulder roll to make trying to hit him the most frustrating part about fighting him. Checking with both hands comes naturally to Shakur Stevenson. When Hartunian pressed, Shakur Stevenson stifled the lead hand by placing his on top, blocking its straight path. As Hartunian throws the right cross, Shakur Stevenson catches it with the left hand and employs the long guard to further make the path a follow-up a bit more difficult. Finally, Shakur Stevenson reaches out and touches the lead hand of Hartunian again. In combination with the hand checks, Shakur Stevenson will use his forearms, cross-checking, and more to further frustrate his foe. Once again, Artem Hartunian is on the attack with the left. As you can see, Shakur Stevenson raises his forearm, blocking the punch. Expecting a follow-up, Shakur Stevenson returns to the high guard and, as predicted, Hartunian throws the left. Hartunian makes a great choice next and throws the left to the body. Steven had the high guard and the left body is exposed. Shakur Stevenson would learn from this almost instantly. Hartunian continues his combination with a straight left that Shakur Stevenson blocks with his glove. Making his adjustment from 2 punches ago, Shakur Stevenson will then predict the left to the body, the exact same punch Hartunian landed earlier, allowing it to land harmlessly on his back. Not to be deterred, Hartunian ends his combination with a right that Stevenson deflects with his arm again. Now this is what makes Shakur Stevenson so frustrating to fight. Hartunian threw 6 punches, of which 1 landed, that left to the body. Furthermore, Shakur Stevenson made an immediate adjustment on the exact same punch less than a second earlier, showing Hartunian that there would be no free shots. That turn into the punch of Artem Hartunian is nothing new for Shakur Stevenson. Like Floyd Mayweather before him, Shakur Stevenson is an incredible fighter at utilizing the shoulder roll. Again, boxing is about hitting and not getting hit. While Shakur Stevenson is not quite known for hitting, he is the master at not getting hit. For those unfamiliar with the shoulder roll, often called the Philly shell, is a defensive position and aims to lower a fighter's profile and deflect punches with a multitude of different techniques. Going from top to bottom here, the shoulder is a huge part of what the shoulder roll is about and where the defensive system gets its name from. When a cross is thrown, the defending fighter gets behind the shoulder and rolls with the punch. The rear hand is to defend against the lead hook and use the cross guard, as we've seen with Stevenson previously. The lead hand is low, substituted by the shoulder, and protects the body by laying across the midsection. Attacking the shoulder roll is not impossible by any means, but a boxer who doesn't think critically about an approach will be left missing the majority of his or her punches. Let's focus on the shoulder first. The best way to defend the lead side of your chin is to put a giant chunk of bone and muscle between the punch. First, we see UFC champion Ilia Topuria guarding the left hook with his right hand high and tucking his chin behind his shoulder. As his opponent throws the right hook, something he's known for, Ilia Topuria rolls with the punch and it glances off his shoulder. Building on the shoulder roll, Shakur Stevenson will stand right in the pocket, right in front of Hartounian, and force his opponent to throw and make him miss. Shakur Stevenson loves to dip under the right hook off of the shoulder roll. He will often shove his opponents out of the pocket and not take a single blow doing so. This is something Teofimo Lopez, an orthodox fighter, does to southpaws like Vasily Lomachenko and Josh Taylor. Taking a closer look at Teofimo Lopez, the bigger Josh Taylor wanted to smother Teofimo Lopez, lean on him, and tip the gas tank disparity in his direction. Teofimo Lopez had a different answer. Josh Taylor stepped into Teofimo Lopez, but as the distance was closed, Lopez managed to get his arm in between he and Taylor. Lopez then simply pushes off of Josh Taylor, denying him the clinch. Now, to win a boxing match, Shakur Stevenson has to hit, despite seemingly not wanting to. While sparse, Stevenson's offense is often well thought out. Hooking off the jab in, as animated here, jabbing off the hook are effective tools used by Stevenson. With his hand fighting, the hook coming off of a pseudo jab is something he loves to employ. Shakur Stevenson will often plaster his glove to his opponents, taking away their jab. He pulls down their lead hand, retracts his hand, and lands the hook home. Shakur Stevenson often pulls down the lead hand of his foe to create the punching lane. It's this type of deception that works well with Stevenson's defensive style. But there are some things Stevenson could add to his arsenal that would make his striking that much more dangerous and frustrating. Of course, there's the 1-1-2. Shakur Stevenson will double up on the double jab, and like against Hartounian, when he is wanting to get a finish, he will often go for the left cross. But the lack of work and output from Shakur Stevenson over the course of a fight hurts the amount of damage he puts out. Another thing that could be added to Shakur Stevenson's game is a pull counter cross. Made famous by Floyd Mayweather in recent decades, this would work hand in hand with his shoulder roll. To see how this and other combination punches work off the shoulder roll, we go back to Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria starts by jabbing in and pivoting around to anticipate his opponent's booming right. Topuria shoulder rolls with the right hand, glancing off of his shoulder. You can see the right hand cocked and ready to go of Ilia Topuria. He fires home the right hand up the middle and follows up with a lead hook and a rear hook. Shakur Stevenson is incredibly frustrating to fight and to watch. While he can improve, he's certainly one of the best in boxing today, regardless of the lack of offensive output. Fighters like Gervonta Davis and Vasily Lomachenko are fan favorites because of their offensive spectacles, but Shakur Stevenson is a sleeper in this division to show up to these fighters' front doors and make them look mortal.